Hello, I'm in the man's garden. We've just had our worship service over Zoom and enjoyed meeting together as a church of St Margaret's in Glenrothes. And I've come out into the man's garden just to record for you the reflection that we shared. It's all based on the passage for today is from John's Gospel, John 10, and it's a passage in which Jesus talks about the gate. And in fact, he's got quite a lot to say about lockdown life. So hear the passage, it's John 10, 1 to 10, and it's a parable, it's a story that Jesus told. Jesus said, "I'm telling you the truth. The man who does not enter the sheepfold by the gate, but climbs in some other way, is a thief and a robber. The man who goes in through the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him. The sheep hear his voice as he calls his own sheep by name, and he leads them out. When he has brought them out, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. They will not follow someone else. Instead, they will run away from such a person because they don't know his voice." Jesus told them this parable, but they didn't really understand what it meant. So Jesus said again, "I'm telling you the truth. I am the gate for the sheep. All others who come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the gate. Whoever comes in by me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes in only to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come in order that you might have life and have it in all its fullness." Amen. I wonder how you're coping with the ongoing restrictions of lockdown. There are so many limitations just now about where we can go and who we can see. And whilst it's all for very good reasons, it does feel quite restrictive. The lockdown seems to be, on the face of it, all about locked doors and locked gates. And Jesus talks about a gate in that reading. And you know, gates are important. We have a gate here in the manse, and the lock was a bit faulty, so we've had to arrange to have that fixed because we've got our daughter staying and her dog, and if the gate was to blow open or be left open or the faulty catch was to unlock, the dog would escape. So gates are important to keep pets and toddlers as well in safety. The reading from the Gospel gives a picture of a flock of sheep, and they're safe in their pen and they're keeping an eye on the shepherd, and it's set in 1st century Palestine. And in those days, a sheep pen was used by many different shepherds with many different flocks sharing the same pen. And this particular group of sheep in the parable knows the voice of their own shepherd, and they get a little bit wary when someone else comes in. I was watching a programme on TV and was interested to find that it was the country file, and it was in the Isle of Wight, and I was interested to find that farmers know the sheep's names that they're showing and the rams' names that they're showing. When the shepherd in the parable comes into the pen, the sheep no longer need to be watchful, and they just get on with eating, knowing that they're safe. Some of the sheep feel less secure when the shepherd is not around. And you know, these restrictions of lockdown, when they're eased, we'll all have our own challenges about how we feel about going outside our own gates and our own front doors. And Jesus speaks into that situation today, and he says, "I am the gate." And the point of the parable is that the gate functions both to keep in safe and secure the sheep, but also as an open gate, an open gateway is what it's really about. The open gateway allows the shepherd to come in, and the open gate allows the shepherd to lead the sheep out into the life-giving pastures. The climax of the parable isn't actually safety and security, but it is about abundant life. And Jesus says, I've come that they may have life and have it to the full. Life in all its fullness is what sums up really the Christian life and what Jesus is trying to tell the people who are listening. And although we're living in times when rightly the emphasis is on security and safety, Jesus has promised life in all its fullness, a fulfilled, abundant life in its most richest, fullest sense. For abundant living is what's really important, and this can be discovered even in lockdown. Because most importantly, what Jesus is saying, it's about our relationship with God and about our relationships with those around us. And whilst Christianity can sometimes focus a lot on the rules and regulations, it doesn't seem to tie up well with the Jesus who talks about abundant life, the Jesus who filled up the water jars full of wine so that a celebration could continue for a wedding, the Jesus who fed thousands of people on a mountainside so much that there were baskets of food left over. Jesus is talking about fullness of life, and the gateway to life is through him, for all he's done for us on the cross. For in him we are indeed offered security and safety, but it's also we're enabled through him to go beyond the closed doors of all that seems frightening. For God gives us, through Jesus Christ, the ability to come and go and to be led forward by Jesus, the Good Shepherd. It's all about life here and now, not just in the future, life even in the lockdown. And the gate is the gateway into God's presence. For that's where we come, when we come with empty hearts and empty hands to seek the living God who meets us there. The invitation is to step through the gateway of the cross into an entirely new world where we're no longer sheep, but we are children of the living God, free to come and go in God's world, respecting the lockdown, but not diminished by it. It's a time for discovering the priorities of abundant living and growing in faith and confidence in our relationship with God and with others, following the Good Shepherd who leads us to life in all its fullness. For after all, that's what we're made for. Amen.